New evidence has been released in the case of Freddie Gray. He was the Baltimore man who died while in police custody back in April. Justice reporter Paula Reid joins us now from Washington. Paula, thanks for being with us. What does this new evidence include and how significant is it?
Elaine, this is incredibly significant. We've known that 5 of the 6 officers charged gave statements in this investigation before the charges were filed, but we didn't know exactly what they said. Now we understand why there will be 6 separate charges. In this new evidence, it is revealed that Officer Porter allegedly told his fellow officers that Gray needed medical attention, which we know he didn't get immediately. But there are other officers in their statements who don't remember things going quite that way. So what we see here, Elaine, is that these officers are not coming forward with a consistent, coherent narrative of what happened that day. And that is why they're each being tried separately.
With these new revelations, Paula, what have your sources told you about the prosecution strategy for this case?
Well, originally the trial was supposed to start in about 2 weeks, but I'm told the first trial will likely happen later this year, maybe early next year. And the state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, she gets to decide who goes first. And she's going to want to start with her strongest case. And they believe, I am told, that that is Officer Porter. You really want to get a conviction off the bat here, because as you go through the different trials, it's just going to get harder and harder to get a conviction, because the other defense attorneys are going to have a chance to watch the prior trial, get a sense of the evidence you have of your strategy. So if they don't get a win in this first trial, it's only going to be harder as they go down the line.
Paula, I know you have been covering the hearings and the legal proceedings from day one when it comes to this case. What is the mood like in Baltimore? Does it seem like the fact that these officers are being charged and tried has helped to ease tensions at all in the city?
Elaine, it does seem that way. There's a group of passionate protesters that show up to each of these hearings, and these are significant hearings. This judge had to decide whether or not to dismiss the case, whether to try the officers separately, and whether or not to move the case out of Baltimore. And with each of those decisions, the protesters had reactions, but it was nothing compared to what we saw before these charges were filed. Now, as you know, it's not just this trial. There's also been the Department of Justice involvement in the city. They are looking into the death of Freddie Gray, and they've also launched a pattern or practice investigation into the police force. Elaine, that's the most serious thing the Department of Justice can do to bring reform to a police department. They're going to look at all of the Baltimore Police Department's practices and make sure that they are in line with the Constitution. And if they're not, they're going to come up with a plan to make them constitutional.
All right, Paula Reid reporting from Washington. Paula, thanks for your insight.